All right, welcome to the show. I got Steve Cooper from, man, you got to tell me where you're from again, because I've already forgot.
Smith Micro Software in Santa Cruz, California.
Santa Cruz, California. Is it weather nice today?
Oh yeah, it's just like perfect.
Yeah, I used
It's
to live in
it's
Fremont,
ga-
and Santa
it's
Cruz was
gaming weather
nice.
today. It's gaming weather.
Really?
Oh
So,
yeah, gaming weather.
what's gaming weather in Santa Cruz? I'm curious.
65 and sunny.
So, where I'm at now in Washington, that's mom says get your butt outside weather.
Right. Every day is like that here. So like every day is a gaming day, right?
For sure, for sure. I lived in Fremont, and I've actually wrote a couple songs sitting on the beach of Santa Cruz. Was some
Nice,
good times.
nice. Yeah, Fremont's got some awesome mountains in the background and some great mountain biking and yeah, I like Fremont.
Oh, cool, man. Well, very cool. So before we jump into what you do and the in the game development side of things, let's get to know you. What kind of games did you start out with, or what are you into?
Well, I'm an old school gamer, and let's see if I can share a screen. The game I like to play is something that actually, I picked up from an old hero of mine, David Letterman. And let's see, you have to tell me if the screen sharing is going to work. Let's see, I get my little tool up here. I move some windows around. Oh goodness, I'm slow. What was this product called? A haircut, not a haircut. Hairpiece, not a hairpiece. Because that's
Oh,
the kind of excitement that we rolled by. Like if it was like a toupee or not a toupee. So, I'm having technical difficulties now. I'm not getting my screen share to work at all. Let's see. This was a much funnier stick when we practiced it. Let's see. Here we go. Hairpiece, not a hairpiece. Share screen. All right.
ooh,
So you see this? Look at this. Isn't this a great looking game? Here's David Letterman endorsing hairpiece, not a hairpiece. And see, I think this was like for PlayStation point 0.5. And boom, entry, entry, and here comes our mystery guest, and it's this guy here. Looks a little plastic, a little rigid, and we have 24 seconds to tell if that's a hairpiece or not a hairpiece. And then we get to choose. Now see, look at that's exciting. That's gaming. You've got an old school game shirt on. This is old school. Anyway.
so I'm having to laugh in silence because if I make a sound, it cuts to my face on the screen, and we lose the
Oh,
screenshot there. So
yeah.
that is great, man. And I saw a little Nintendo 64 emblem up in the corner on that CD case, So
Actually, I think that might have been Nintendo 32 even. Who knows? It's so old.
oh well, very cool. We'll make sure we get a link to that whole video in the show notes because I'm sure there'll be
I
some
look
people that
forward
want
to it.
to see it. So, but so other than hairpiece, not a hairpiece, what other games do you like to play?
So the last game that I successfully completed, because I don't have a lot of time. The last game that I successfully completed was it was a great shooter that had Max. It was Max Payne. Oh my God, that was a great game. Went through the whole thing, and then what was awesome is that like there was that hot character Mona. There was the love interest. He was unkillable. He had all the best toys. The graphics were great. So I guess I still am a little bit old school because that has to be at least 6 years old, maybe more.
You talking the original Max Payne?
No, the second one that came out. What was the one with the more Russian angle? I'm being terrible. I'm not remembering. I loved it. It was a great game to play.
Hey,
A lot of fun.
perfect. So you're looking at probably is that 360 or original Xbox or
Well,
PlayStation?
I'm a PC gamer. Is that okay?
Hey,
I'm a PC gamer fan.
we do not discriminate. It's all good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I like having it on a laptop and having that choice of where I want to drag the thing. And I don't know. Dual purpose. How's that? I'm a practical guy,
Well, being in Santa Cruz, you want to be able to game outside because the weather's nice,
right?
right? You just got to deal with the glare. Other than that, you're good to go.
Right? Pitch a tent down on the beach, get inside, play a game. You know, as long as it's not an online game, because that would be a problem unless you have like some epic kind of Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, well, just hotspot on your cell phone, man. You're good to go. See?
Boom. What a great idea. Hold on, let me set that up now.
Yeah. Oh, well, very cool, man. That's great. Let's go back. Let's go back further than Max Payne.
Sure.
What's your first gaming memory?
Myst.
Oh, okay.
Myst. I loved Myst. Myst was one of those kind of pivotal games where, for me, it was card based. It wasn't very complicated, but I was early in the 3D industry and was blown away by, at that time, pretty revolutionary looking graphics. And the gameplay was kind of cool, and it was like, although it was like somebody dropped a neutron bomb off because there wasn't a single person in the game, there was no characters, but it was all interesting puzzles. And there was like this really neat ambient sound. So like you'd be playing and there'd be like a ding 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 ding, and that would be the game. But it was fun. It was neat to see. And I never ever thought that any of the other follow-ups to the original Myst ever kind of topped it. It was great. So that was a revolutionary game. But I'm also a pinball guy. I go back to pinball.
Okay. Very
You know,
cool.
and of course a lot of 8-bit gaming was done back in the day. So
Yeah, man. That's now Myst, wasn't that a game you could literally beat by turning around?
yeah, yeah, exactly. But the navigation was really puzzling, so figuring out how to turn around was a real challenge. You could get beside yourself even. Sorry.
Oh man. Well, so you just mentioned 3D modeling. What is it that you do that you work on?
So I'm kind of a dinosaur in that I manage a software product. My actual official job title is Director of Product Management, and I manage a 3D character animation software tool called Poser. It's been around for about 20 years, and it originated actually from technology that was built to do the very first Coca-Cola polar bear commercials from an entertainment company called Rhythm and Hues. They did the movie Babe. They did a bunch of movies and television commercials. And anyway, so what happened was that this technology they built was productized and turned into this digital mannequin that was made for posing. And then we discovered that it was great for doing illustration and animation. So a lot of people were doing great like work in comic books and television graphics, like that Letterman piece that I showed you, where you had 3D characters that were easy to use, and that's kind of been our benchmark. So we do this character tool, Poser, that's easy to use. It comes with digital people and animals and dinosaurs and robots and monsters, and then we just kind of create the way to build a scene. You take a picture of it, or you do a movie of it, and then you turn that into a YouTube video or into an image that you throw up on the web. And the newest version we just came out with is called Poser Pro Game Dev, and it has a great connection into Unity, into the Unreal game engine, into a variety of different tools that use FBX, and then through Collada we can get into Torque. So it's a gaming tool now. It's become a gaming tool, and that's how we became aware of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. A few tweets here and there, and well, here we are, right?
The beauty of social media.
Yes, absolutely. So, when did it come out for the latest come out to be used with Unity and stuff?
So the latest version, this game dev version, we just shipped the very first week of August, and we're currently up on the Unity Asset Store. We're the top grossing app of all, up on the Unity Asset Store, and that's been after about, I don't know, a couple of weeks of activity. So it's got a lot of fans. It's gotten a lot of traction, which is cool to see. And our secret sauce is that it comes with this 5 GB library full of digital characters, and you can edit them. You can make them walk, you can make them talk, you can make them have emotion, you can morph them to do different things, like turn them into a big bodybuilder or a skinny dude. They have changeable clothing that you can put on them, and then there's all this other kind of different genres of clothing and assets that are available, like superhero stuff, or archaic uniforms, like rulers from Rome, that kind of thing. So if you wanted to have like a gladiator, you could create that inside Poser and then bring it into Unity and then use that as an asset to build a game inside Unity.
I see. And so how customizable are these things? I mean, if you have a lot of people that pick this thing up, are you going to see similar things, or is it, can you customize quite a bit of it?
Yeah, you can actually customize a lot of it. So there's two different ways that we kind of make it easy for customizing. We have a thing that's called the morph brush, which basically it's like you kind of touch and you could like change the shape. So I could pull like my cheekbones out, or I could make my brow different, or make my chin different, right? So you can actually like treat the character like putty and push it around and move it. The second thing that we do is we have this thing called the face room. And what the face room does is it takes like a picture of your face and it uses it as a reference. So it gets your shape, and then it also gets your profile, and then it customizes the figure so that it looks just like you do in the photo. And then it actually uses the photo as a texture that wraps around. So you can actually, people are all generally about the same. We've all got 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, a torso, a waist, right? We all have those general proportions. So if you can start customizing things like the face, or different hair, or different skin tone colors, or different facial structure like through a photograph, it actually makes it easy to make content that doesn't all look the same.
That sounds awesome, man. And when you were describing that brush, I couldn't help but think about Mario 64 at the beginning of the game, when before in the menu screen, when you could pull on his nose and his ears and modify the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how it works. That is totally how it works. We have in that face room tool, we've actually got a slider. It's like a caricature slider. So you like slide it, and then the character's all like, so it's like kind of crazy.
For those of you that are only listening, he just made an epic face for what that slider does. So make sure to go check out the video.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Show me your face.
Yeah. So this does the modeling. Like, I really want to break down what this thing does.
Actually, so let's be clear. It actually doesn't model. We don't have any modeling tools at all.
Okay. So explain it to me, being just this super dumb guy that doesn't. You're creating the character, but it's not. You're not adding any of the movement to it, or some of it.
Well, you can add the movement. Let me give you this. Here's an example I like to use.
Perfect.
So if I gave you like a big ball of clay right now, I handed up my hand and said, okay, I want you to take this ball of clay and I want you to sculpt like that statue of that famous dude who's like throwing the frisbee, like the discus guy, right? He throws the frisbee. That's a famous statue. Try and see how close you can come. Odds are, and I certainly am in the same category, it would be terrible. It wouldn't be even close to looking like that statue. And then even if I could come close, the face is going to look weird, or maybe the muscles are strange, right? So most people actually aren't good at building or modeling like something as complicated as a person. People can build all kinds of like shapes, like modeling like an iPhone in 3D. That's actually pretty straightforward. That's actually easy to do. You make an oblong rectangle, you stretch it out and give it depth, and you add a texture on the top, and you use booleans to cut some hole. Anyway, but people are really, really hard. So what Poser does is it takes a figure. You pull a figure from a library over here, and you drag it into the scene, and you've got a person that's ready to go. And so then once you've got that ready to go, you can move it, you can pose the body parts, you can put different lights in, different background elements in, and build a scene, and then animate that scene. So like you could do like hand motions like I'm doing right now, or make the character walk, right? And all of that is keyframed automatically inside the tool. So it's more about taking existing assets from a library of pre-built, really well-built people and animals, and then being able to use those. And then because Poser's kind of grown up over the last 20 years, there's this enormous ecosystem of people that are building other content. So if you wanted to like add in a helicopter or add in a Roman Colosseum or a fantastic three-headed dragon, you know, those all exist inside of Poser, rigged and built as Poser characters or as Poser scene elements that you could then bring into this Poser scene and then export that and bring it into a Unity game.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that help?
I believe so. I got a couple follow-up questions here just to make sure. So basically, the software originally was for creating a scene that could be animated and lit, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're taking that your creation, and when you put it into Unity, that's when you can add the motion to it and turn it into a controllable character. Is that
so? You've got it almost perfect. Almost one little detail. Yeah. So you can do all of that animation inside Poser because it's this really cool animation tool. Like you could grab a hand, and move it, and the computer's automatically going to track that motion and animate it for you. That all happens inside Poser. Once you've created that, then you save that as a scene, as an FBX scene, and then you import it into Unity, and it's that hand animation on a character. It's already set for you. So Poser is used for kind of tweaking the characters, making them look how you want, animating them, sort of bringing them to life, and then reducing polygon counts so that they play back quickly inside Unity, or combining things like clothing to like the base figure underneath, so you can marry that all together and have one figure. And then you export it into Unity, and all that becomes a character that you can use inside Unity. So the character is animated with the hand, he's got the right clothing on, he's got the right facial appearance, he's even got things like animated blinks, or if I was talking in the game, you needed me to talk in the game, or open my mouth with incredulity because I just shot some monster or something like that. So you could all animate that all inside Poser, and then bring it right into Unity. And then Unity, you would then structure the game. So you would take the character who's moving with this incredulous shot because he just killed a monster, and you would tie it into an action, like shooting the gun, killing the monster, drives the character acting incredulously. So it's like the scripting system that's in Unity would use the assets from Poser to create the game.
Okay, so I'm gonna
a little bit shyer than rocket science. It's this much shorter than rocket science.
Yeah, which is way beyond me. So, I mean, you know, but
me too.
So perfect. But so let me see if I got it. If in Poser I could create, you know, a man, and then I could give him his walking animation. Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
And then give him his running animation, and then put him into Unity. If I push the controller halfway, he walks. If I push it all the way, he then runs.
Exactly. That's exactly how you'd structure it. Yeah.
Okay.
So to do that inside Unity would be almost impossible. I mean, hooking up the controller to drive the character to do things, that's simple inside Unity. But yeah, to be able to somehow get a character into Unity and then animate it, Poser's going to give all that stuff to you right away.
Dude, it sounds super awesome.
Wait till you start trying it, man. Wait till you start digging in on it, Josh.
Yeah, I'm excited. So what's the user interface like? I mean, is it?
You want to see it?
Yeah, if we can do that.
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on. Let's see. I'll get my screen share going. This is magical now. Now I'm like a trained monkey and I know how to do this now. Here we go.
And
start the screen share. Do you see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. So here's one of the. All right. Cool. If you have any questions, feel free. Jump right in. So basically, like the characters. See this guy? I can move him around. if I want to create like an animation, all I do is I go down here to the bottom. I drag this little time controller down. I drag his body down. I drag a little further forward in time. And what I'm doing is I'm recording his points in space over time. And let's go down like so. And then let's bring him back to a point. Now I'm going to grab the scrubber now. I'm not going to touch the character. I'm just going to grab the little scrubber and I'm going to roll back and forth. And you can see that actually the character's animated now.
Yeah.
So we were able to actually animate the character.
Yeah, so basically you grabbed, just for those that are only listening, you grabbed the character that was on the screen with your mouse and you moved him in the position that you want him to be in, and then you moved that scrubber just, what is it, like a, does it do an X amount of frames at a time, or a...
So there's a little counter down here, and it tells you what frame you're at. So like, you just track where in time you want to be. So now I've actually animated the camera. But you just basically, wherever you want an action to occur, you simply just move the character. So for instance, we've got the character jumping a little bit. Let's go in now, and let's go in and move his arm so that he looks like he's kind of like lifting up a little bit as he's landed. And now at this frame 17, where I did all that movement, that actually recorded and created a keyframe. So let's go in and let's do it a little bit different, a little earlier, so there's actually some motion now at frame 12. And you can see that the arms are moving too.
Yeah, so basically you've taken a skeleton and you've just made it jump. And its arms have moved as if it's trying to brace itself for a landing. I mean, that's...
Right?
Dude, that is...
I want to show you something really cool though. If you like that, you're gonna really dig this. So let's see. I think so. Here's the library over in the right-hand side. Right. These are all of the characters, and then there's poses and hair and scenes and lights and cameras. So let's go into the people category, and there's all these different really awesome people. But I want to show you this really cool thing. I want to show you this character called Creech, and so I have a little preview of Creech. He's a monster. Are you okay with monsters? Is this going to scare you, Josh?
I am a little sensitive to monsters, but I think
all right.
I think it's bright enough outside. I'll be all right.
All right, great. So I'm going to drag this Creech guy in, and see. So he's the creature from the Black Lagoon. He comes with Poser, and just like I'm going to move actually back to this. I'm going to move him back to frame 0 here, and so just like that other character I was working with, see, I can move him just the same way, except that he actually bends. He has nice smooth bending. See how his knees, like actually they're like skinned really well. Yeah. And then I could go in and I could move the tail. I could move like every single joint around, right? So that's kind of cool. But let's actually restore him back to his starting point, because I got to show you something you'll really dig. So do you ever play on any Microsoft stuff at all? Xbox now?
Oh, absolutely. I'm an Xbox One guy.
Yeah. Oh, you are? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to show you something kind of neat. I'm going to go in here. You see this little window, and it says add-ons, and I'm going to go into Connect Capture.
Yeah.
And dude, check this out. All right, so I'm gonna walk. I need to walk over. You can see my house right now, and it's a good thing I cleaned up. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be able to do everything all at once because I can't reach from where the Connect is focused. But I'm standing over here now, and see the skeleton just lined up to my body as I'm moving?
On my screen, all I can see of what you're showing me is just your little guy. I don't see anything else.
Oh, you don't? I tell you what. Let me make sure I get the screen sharing right. Okay, cool. Because what we do is that's really amazing is we've got the ability to use a Connect device to be able to capture motion. So we can go in. Let's see here. I need this to pop up. Here we go. Let's see if this does it as a separate window. I'm going to go into full screen and see if this helps, okay? You tell me if you can see. I think I can see you seeing you, right?
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
That's kind of scary. All right, now, can you see my whole screen now?
Yes, I see the extra window.
Oh, cool. And then, all right, so do you see me standing there with little green lines on me?
I do, man. That's very cool.
All right, so as I move, what that is that's the Kinect device reading my motion and tracking it. And then we can use, so I'm using an Xbox 360, I'm using a Kinect 360 device. We actually are just about to roll out support for Kinect 2 as well. But so this is just plugged in via an adapter into a USB for my laptop. But if I could actually push the button, and I'm going to try and use my little green framed guy, if I could push the button that's down here on this window, I could actually start this, and then all of my motion would be tracked. So like if I was doing like a sword fighting Creech and I was swinging my arm around, I could track that motion and capture all that animation and then apply it to my figure that's over here on the side. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah. And so just for those that are listening, just you can get an idea. He has created what looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon or whatever. It's in the software already. And then there's another little window that shows him standing there with a green skeleton that's from the Microsoft Kinect, and you basically can record your motions and import those motions right to the character, right?
Bingo. That's it. Isn't that cool?
Dude, I'm surprised my hat and headphones are on because my mind is blown right now.
Right? And then you can also just do stuff like, all right, so I want to look at this Creech dude here for a second because he's kind of cool. I'm going to show you one other thing that I love to do. So what we did with Poser, the idea here was to take the really complicated art of character animation. We wanted to turn it into something easy. So we have all these tools that are designed to help it out. So like, for instance, there's a talk designer so that you can take in a spoken word file and it'll automatically make the characters' lip, teeth, and tongue sync up with the sound, and it'll make the characters' 3D face actually talk. But what's really cool to show is this thing called the Walk Designer. So what the Walk Designer does is it takes any biped character and it actually is going to make it walk. So I assume you can see this little like wireframe person. You can see this person walking in the little window there, correct?
That is correct. I see it.
Awesome. So then what we can do is we have all these blend styles here. So we can make, all right, let's make this guy, let's make this one, I want to make him sort of sneaky. So I'm going to dial up the sneak. There we go. Look at that. So it's sneaky. And then I'm going to make it a little bit, because I'm thinking about Creech, and I think that Creech is going to sneak, and he's going to stomp, and he's going to be strong. And I don't think I need sexy, because I don't think Creech is sexy. All right, so let's see. That's good. I like that. See, so I've got now this character that that's the walk cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Apply. And now I have some choices, and I'm actually going to make this Creech figure walk in place for 4 repetitions, and I'm going to set him up to complete the last step. Actually, no, I don't even want him to complete the last step. I'm just going to leave it exactly as is. I don't have to touch anything, and it's going to create 120 keyframes based on this frame rate. And let's click OK. Let's close out this window, and let's click Play. See, so now, with like the push of a button, I was able to actually make my Creech character walk and do that creepy walk that I was just doing. So I'm going to turn off, I'm going to turn my camera around so you can kind of see him from the side. And let's scream in here, and here's Creech walking. So, you know, Josh, you were talking about like how you would get this into Unity, and that like you would use the Unity's tools to drive what the controller interaction would be. So let's say, you know, like you would want him to stop or run or whatever, and drive it with an action, like pushing the controller halfway would make him walk like that, and then he could run. But the trick here to get it into Unity is we go into our File, Export, and then we go into Export FBX. And we can do like a multi-frame export. That's the whole animation. And I can select the character. This is Creech and all of his body parts. Just click that. And because there's all different flavors of FBX, what you can actually do is just click on this load preset, and there's Unity right there. But there's also the Unreal Engine, 3D Studio Max, which also does FBX. But like, for Unity, we just click that, and then we just click OK. There's all these settings, and basically it's pretty straightforward. But you have all these settings, you just click OK, and then that would then generate a character that you could then import into Unity and tie it into a game action.
Dude,
kind of crazy.
It's nuts. I mean, you literally just animated that guy in, I don't know, 2 minutes tops. I mean,
right.
Yeah, that took you no time at all, and
that's how we roll.
Yeah, I guess that's how you roll. That's so slick. And again, if you're listening, I'm sorry that you can't see, but this video will be up on it'll be up on YouTube by the time you're hearing this. So make sure to go and check it out. It'll be in the show notes. It's absolutely amazing, man. And the cool thing is I'm seeing not only your character animation during the game, but you're animating all of your cutscenes and everything with the same.
Right. So that actually is a really important point. Poser's traditionally been like an illustration and a rendering tool. And what rendering means is that, like, if I were to grab my phone and do a selfie, it's going to take an exact replica picture of what I'm doing at this moment in time. It's a snapshot of that moment in time. It's not really me. It's just a picture of me. Same thing happens inside Poser. You have this 3D model, and then you render pictures of it. So for an illustration, you render one. For an animation, you render all of them. So that's like one frame, 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 and then you have an animated sequence that will go through smoothly, right? Mm-hmm. So when you render it, you're basically just taking a picture. Now, with gaming, obviously, all that stuff is happening on screen in real time. It's rendering a sequence of character movements, of animated poses, and it strings them together, and your eye sees it as motion. Even though it's not, it looks like it's moving, it's actually just like it's a bunch of static things strung together. So Poser's great for creating the characters that are in that animation. But the really important point you just made, I like, is you talk about cutscenes. So if you're doing like if you want a really gorgeous cutscene, and you want it at full resolution, and you want it to like be something that maybe you could put up on an HD web video, and you don't want it to look all blocky like a game character, well, then that's what's cool about using the content from Poser, is that it comes with super high polygon counts. So you could actually render it out, all that sequence, you could render it out at full resolution with beautiful lighting, with like features like subsurface scattering to make the skin luminescent, beautiful reflections, ambient quality that's just gorgeous in a full high-res like background environment. But it looks exactly like what you'd see in the game, but at much higher resolution. So if we're doing like those polished animations to support the game, either they be in marketing materials that you're doing online, or they become part of a cutscene that's actually in a compiled game, Poser's going to be brilliant for integration in that. And you can even take content from folks like Fuse. So you could take like a Fuse character from Unity, which are great characters, and an animated Fuse character. You can bring it inside a Poser, put it into a scene, light it, put it in with background, and get the really beautiful rendering quality. That's the photorealistic rendering quality that Poser has. That's just gorgeous. So it's a really neat tool. It comes in at both places, both in terms of creating content for the game and then rendering cutscene graphics or promotional graphics to support the game on the outside of it.
Yeah, dude, I can't even believe what you just showed me, to be perfectly honest with you. And so let me get into the, like, I mean, what you did, it looked easy, right? You're like, oh, grab the joints, move it here, move it here, move it here. Obviously, this is an extremely powerful tool. So is it a super thick manual to learn this stuff, or
So that's a great question. So it's easy as 3D goes, and 3D is hard. So there's no two ways around it. That said, if somebody's using Unity, Unity is a lot harder than Poser. Photoshop is a lot harder than Poser. Um, Basic functionality inside Photoshop and basic functionality inside Poser are on par with each other. It's simple to open up Poser and grab and move that character. That is so, so simple. All you need to know is just like a couple of icons, like the stuff that's in the upper corner when we were looking at it, know how to rotate my camera around. You learn the basics and you can actually start playing with it really fast. If somebody who wants to create a game and has mastered Unity picks up Poser, they'll probably be able to start creating game assets within a couple of days max. So as an example, we have this young intern, Jonathan Chang, who just did this game for us called Bot Battle. And we actually have free gaming assets that you can grab so you can see how he built it. And it goes to the Poser assets, to the Unity assets, the compiled game. You can see the game, the structure on it, etc. Anyway, Jonathan is a Unity whiz, knows his stuff inside and out. He came in the development stage on Poser Pro Game Dev, and within a couple of days started working on this bot battle game. And it was a first-person robot shooter. It's not a first-person, excuse me, it's a robot shooter. And he basically took two stock robot characters inside Poser and set up using that walk designer tool that I just showed you. He set up some different walk cycles, an idle cycle where the character is just kind of like sitting there lumbering when it's not doing anything, and then he came up with a victory dance that's motion capture. So he strung that all together, exported the files via FBX, brought it to the Unity, did the back end on it, and then created this really cool little game to show how easy it was to use. So somebody who knows Unity will be able to walk into game dev and pick it up in a matter of a couple of hours. Somebody who's really, anybody who knows 3D, you'll figure this out in minutes. It won't take time. If you struggle with complicated applications, you know, I'm not gonna kid you. This takes time to learn. So as far as the manual goes, we don't actually have thickness unless you count like, you know, a PDF as thick. So
Sure.
it's like a PDF file.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it is hundreds of pages long. There's a lot of information, but there's free tutorials online. We have a whole bunch of tutorials that are available that are free, that are bring you through through Poser 101 to Poser 501, so you become like a beginner to a master. There's some built-in training materials inside the application as well, so like there's a really robust help system. And there's this massive online community that's grown up around Poser that is providing tips and tricks and other training materials as well too. But a lot of the stuff is designed to kind of like, you know, when you open up Poser and open up a brand new scene, it's not a blank canvas. There's that little mannequin that we showed first off. He's there, right there, ready to be posed, just standing there. And you can just start playing around with him. And it's hard to make mistakes in Poser, which is kind of cool.
Dude, I'll be honest. I'm excited to go back and watch this video again just to see
Nice.
the stuff that you showed me. I mean, it's super awesome, man. And we're getting close to our time, but
Yeah.
this I would really like to have you on again, and maybe even get a couple of couple of people from your team and really do not a podcast, but strictly a video of
Yeah.
just kind of walking through some of this stuff and maybe looking at that bot game you talked about. And you know, I think it would be really great, and I think it would help a ton of people.
Guaranteed. Yeah, let's set it up. I would love to do that. That would be a blast. We're Bottom line, we're having a ton of fun in Poser to begin with. It's really fun, and you know, it's kind of wild. Most people that work in software work with boring stuff, and we get to work with things that has a face on it and has emotions. So you get kind of oddly, strangely connected to these digital characters that we work with. And so everybody I work with has this huge passion for the product, and to be able to go into a new market, into the gaming space, bring the things that have worked for us in the past in other spaces, but now bring it into gamers, it's pretty exciting. So getting a bunch of the team on and showing the game, that's a no-brainer. That'd be super simple, and we'd love to do that.
Okay, great, man. Well, I'll get that set up, and
Cool.
we'll do it. We'll do it soon, because I mean, this like I said, and even the lighting that you guys use for while you're working on it, like the lighting on your
Yeah,
Creech or whatever his name was. I mean, I was just like, and I'm sure, yeah, it's just
yeah.
it's super cool.
Thanks. Yeah, we've done a lot of tricks with OpenGL to get the shaders to work really, really well with almost real-time ray tracing. I mean, it's really beautiful, and it makes, you know what, it makes it fun. If the character looks better, you're more prone to stick around and play with it longer and learn more things that you can do with it. And if it's not fun, who wants to do it?
Yeah. Well, you guys have definitely made it fun, man. It's a great tool, and
Thanks.
yeah, it's very cool. And you guys were nice enough to offer a coupon code to the audience, which uh, I believe. Let me look it up here. I think it was GameDev64, and that will save you. Let me just check my phone here because I know it's on here. Um, that is a 20% off coupon.
Nice.
Yeah, to use at
Cool.
checkout. So GameDev N64 is the actual code. So I don't know that I don't think it's live quite yet. We're just trying to get the dates down. It looks like it'll be live on the 10th of November. So because that's
Cool.
probably about the time this show will go on to that'll be on the podcast. So
Nice.
um, Steve, my friend, what's the best place for people
Josh,
to
my
connect with you?
buddy.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm a social network guy. I love social networks. Probably the best place to really connect is on our Facebook page. So our Facebook page, is that okay to say? Is that all right? I'm not
Say
like,
whatever you need, man, and we'll put it on
all
the
right,
notes
cool,
too. So
cool, cool. Um,
I want people to find this, so
I'm
please.
being a dumb. I'm being a dummy. I don't recall the Facebook page right off the top of my head. But if you do a search on Poser on Facebook, you'll get a bunch of like skateboard Poser references, and then you'll get our product. And so, find our product. There's one that's obviously the Smith Micro official Facebook page. That's great. Also, Twitter at Poser Pro is our Twitter handle. That's a great. That's how we connected. Works perfect. Um, I I'd give people I'd send my private email, but man, my inbox is like up to here. It's like I'm barely able. I'm drowning in it already. So
Yeah,
my
yeah, for
inbox is
sure.
tough to get through. But yeah, I think between Twitter and Facebook, those are great places to connect. And we're very responsive on the Facebook page. If you're doing cool stuff, you've got questions, you want to share some things that you've done, or just kind of see what we're up to, it's a nice place to be. And then we always cross pollinate to between Facebook and Twitter, so that the two are just kind of sharing good information.
For sure, man. And not only will the links for all of your contact be in the show notes, I will also include them in the description of this video so that
Cool.
people will be able to find you that way as well. So
Yeah.
uh,
Awesome.
thanks again, man, for taking the time. And
My pleasure.
oh, hey, you know what? Your team is on it because I think they're watching us right now. I just got the Facebook page. It says, come on, load. Facebook.com/poser3D figures. So
Whoa.
there you go.
They are on it.
They are on it.
Well, you know
Uh,
that they know that they work with an old guy with a really bad memory.
well, hey, man, thanks again. This has been rad. I can't wait to chat again and learn more about this. It's very cool.
Awesome, Josh. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about the product. Very excited. Pleasure to meet you.
All right, you too, man. Thanks again.
Cheers.